So here we go to our first final of the day, and it's Micromax up first. Here is your starting grid. After the pre-final earlier on today, Zdeněk Babicek from the Czech Republic will start from pole position, having taken a win earlier on today. Ryan Rivers from Belgium will be alongside him on the front row with Sven Lindemann and Jack Freeman on row number 2. Vic van Kampenhout and Max Gilman will round up the top 3 rows. Ahead of Jeff Baker, Sees Moyes, Mikael Kumas, James van der Poel, Jensen Schork, and there was a technical non-conformity for Maxime Becker post-race, which meant that the German would be excluded on the spot and starts down in 12th position. And it was down to the fact that Maxime Becker was found to be underweight post-race. So the minimum weight in the Micromax class must be 105 kilos and above. And Maxime Becker was found to be less than half a kilo lighter. So we did see some great battling in the previous Micromax race, and this brings to a conclusion. Well, it doesn't bring to a conclusion the racing for Zdeněk Babicek, because he'll be out in the next race as well, and that was an absolute cliffhanger right up until the checkered. So the Micromax drivers will be keeping us waiting as they slow to a crawl. They want to get this start going at the first time of asking. So the red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. The drivers slowly make their way through turn number 11. It is down to Babicek and drivers to control the pace. Out of the final corner, into the tram lines. Are we ready? Are we steady? The lights are out, we're underway in racing. Good start by Babicek at the front of the field. And just behind, Lindemann looks to get through on Rivers and does so, and Maxime Becker's dropped it and went backwards, going through turn 2. In the meantime, Vic van Kampenhout has just slungshot past Jack Freeman going through into turn 4. And Babicek leads them through onto the Europalan for the first time of asking. But Ryan Rivers has got Sven Lindemann hard on the back bumper, along with Vic van Kampenhout. Jack Freeman's rounding out the top 5 as they go through turn 8. And there's a send and a half through up the inside of Lindemann, who's lost out. Not just the Rivers to Van Kampenhout. Could lose another position to Freeman if he's not careful. And Max Gilman, in the meantime, in the number 69, has just got past Jack Freeman. So it's another change for what is going to be 5th on the road. So a minute down, a lap completed, and Babicek's lead is nearly 7/10 of a second. As Freeman nearly went side by side with Gilman going down the start-finish straight. Lindemann and Van Kampenhout go into battle once again through turns 3, into 4, now into 5 before the hard braking zone into the right-hander here at turn 6. They carry a lot of momentum through those 3 corners. Baker trying to catch up to Sees Moyes, as here goes Jack Freeman up the inside of Max Gilman through into turn 7. And then he gave the opportunity, and it's 3 Brits line astern. So Freeman, Gilman and Schork. Drivers now coming through turn 10 into the left-hander here at turn 11. Then Babicek continues to lead and is extending the lead just after the opening couple of laps. His lead was just under 7/10 of a second. What is it now? We come across the lines to complete lap 2. Babicek's lead has been slightly chipped into. So now just over 5.5 tenths. Then Lindemann in 4th. Sets the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 2.437. I'm sure when Zen woke up this morning, came to the track and went, oh, it's wet. He was one of the drivers that did actually say, yeah, I prefer, yeah. I said wet or dry, and he went, yeah, wet. And that was to do with the weather conditions. Oh, switcher back attempted by Says Muiz on the number 48 of Jeff Verbeek for GKS. So the score will be between the Netherlands and Belgium, but at the front of the field. Babicek isn't getting away, but he's controlling the pace, and that's a good thing to do. Once again, they're going to go into turn number 11. Into the final corner. Further back, there is a bit of a train. And now the slipstream fest happens. As Ryan Ivers has got Vic van Kampenhout up the inside through turn 1. Number 3 tries to get an opportunity to get through. Can't do so on that particular occasion. And Sven Lindemann has to wait. It's all about strategy in these longer races. And Ivers sent it up the inside. Oh, gets a bit of a tank slapper coming out of turn 6 after Vic van Kampenhout got the undercut through into that corner and then onto the Europelan. So Lindemann at the moment still has the advantage. But it's down to Van Kampen now, how hard he's willing to push. Because whilst these three have been battling, as Lindemann sends it up the inside of Rivers through turn number 12, and they are cut. Oh, that's a little bit of wheel bagging there between the pair. And Rivers is wrestling with the steering wheel. Lindemann keeps it pinned to the outside and stays ahead. You can see that the number 16, well, the number 4 was the number 4. It's now just become a big black tyre mark on the right rear, well, the rear of his right side pod. So some Mojo sidewall graffiti on the side pod there, courtesy of Mr. Ryan Rivers. 8 minutes and 15 still to go. Plus an additional lap. Denny Babicek still leading. 1.1 seconds between him and now second place driver Vic van Kampenhout. Lap 5 about to be completed. There's a little bit of a send. That was Maxime Becker and Jeff Verbeek in the number 48. That would be for 8th position. So Maxime Becker has time to close in on Jensen Chalk. And the gap between them is just under 3 seconds. James van der Poel is bringing up the rear of the field in the number 6 cart. But he's got a few drivers to try and see if he can get past. The likes of Jeff Verbeek, Says Moyes and Michael Kumas. 6 minutes down, 7 to go on this last race of the day. A bit of a run wide from Jeff Verbeek, then nearly gave Says Moyes the opportunity to get through. The number 34, running on what looks to be a Maranello chassis to me. And now Michael Kumas has joined them, along with Van der Poel. There's the move that Says Moyes has been trying to do for the last couple of corners. And he's just been able to facilitate it. But Jeff Verbeek just keeps it pinned around the outside of turn number 3. The Belgian driver stays ahead for the moment. A little bit further up the order, Sven Lindemann is really closing in on Vic van Kampenhout. So the two championship protagonists Going into this round, we're 50 points apart after the opening 2 rounds. The way things stand, including the drop scores, that Lindemann still has a comfortable advantage of around 34 points by my count. Vic van Kampenhout needs to just do his best to keep ahead of Zen Lindemann. Previous champions include Tom Pappenberg, Max Swiderski back in 2019, Tommy van der Sloys, Dui de Decker in 2017, and Tom Braken. Also, along with the driver nicknamed the Ginger One, who's now in rallying these days, Thomas Martins. He won that title back in 2015, but you can see very, very close indeed between Lindemann and Rivers now back up into third through turn 7. Rens van Pelt, Noah Voigen, Luca Leistra won this title back in 2014. Charles Op de Beek, 2010. And Gino Wetzels in 2009. The Decker went on to take second place. Went on to qualify a couple of times for the grand finals for Team Belgium. The blonde god, as he was nicknamed. He still keeps that very long hair. It's only tied back these days. But Babicek is comfortably leading from Vic van Kampenhout. The battle between Ryan Rivers and Zen Lindemann still going on feverishly behind the number 24. Jack Freeman at the moment sitting in what will be 5th position in a minute, ahead of the 2 fellow Brits that have joined him in this class. Max Gilman, also probably one of the youngest on this field, if not, well, I think Jack Freeman is quite young as well, along with a lot of the drivers. This is where the youngsters that join the Rotax Racing family, this is where they start their racecraft. And they do provide some fantastic racing. At the back end of the field, Jeffrey Baker's got past Says Moyes and has pulled away. So it's battle between Moyes, Koolmas and Van der Poel for the back end of the grid, back end of the field. So 10th to 12th. No one's making any sudden moves. 3 minutes and 30 still to go. Here goes Koolmas on Moyes. Down the start-finish straight, gets the slipstream and the side draft. And now is up into what will be 10th position. But in the meantime, Rivers and Lindemann still embroiled in that battle. Babicek continues to lead as we come down to the final 2.5 minutes. More positions trying to be swapped over at the back end of the of the 12-strong grid. Now a little bit further up the order, Lindemann and Rivers side by side. Lindemann now gets up into 3rd place. So makes that move stick, which is good for his hopes. And also to become one of the new names on the... Because there will be a new name on this honour roll. So a minute and 30 still to go. Denny Babicek looking to make it 2 for 2 this weekend so far. It's another 2 races. Still to go here over the course of the next 24 hours. There will be able to have a little bit of a respite and a chill out and get out of those race suits, take off the race helmets, and go back to being kids and enjoying this wonderful atmosphere with friends and with family. So, less than a minute to go. Denny Babacek is very much in a class of his own. Last time around being 2.2 seconds ahead of Vic van Kampenhout, who now has Zen Lindemann closing on in. Now, Michael Kumas has had a drama in the meantime. He has ended up being bumped back down behind Jeff Verbeek, Cés Moyes and James van der Poel. So 2 more laps to go, including this one. We're on to lap number 13 out of 14. Van Kampenhout is being pressurised whilst the timer has actually hit 0 for the Micromax final on day 1 out of 2 for the final weekend of the championship season. So the last lap board now being shown. Denny Babacek from the Czech Republic now crosses the line. The number 30 has a lead, and it's a good one. Nearly 2.7 seconds. Zen Lindemann has about 1,200 metres of tarmac here at karting Genk to try and get through on Vic van Kampenhout to take that second position, and that will give him a significant boost ahead of tomorrow's 2 races, the pre-final and the final. And here attempts the move, does Zen Lindemann. Van Kampenhout instantly on the defensive. That's going to bring Ryan Rivers into the party if they're very much not careful. Through turn 7, off of the Europlan for the final time they go. Turn 9 is where our leader has just exited, as the 3 battling over 2nd, 3rd and 4th come out of that corner respectively. I think that Jack Freeman might be behind Max Gilman, but 1 more corner remains, and it's 2 for 2 as Denny Babacek takes the win in the pre-final and also the final. Zen Lindemann's got through on Vic van Kampenhout, who gets the switchback. It's a drag race to the line, and Van Kampenhout takes it by 33 thousandths of a second after 14 laps of racing. Ryan Rivers was along with them. Now it's just under 0.2 of a second adrift. Jack Freeman and Max Gilman, 65 thousandths of a second at the line between the 2 Brits. Maxim Becker, who was excluded post the pre-final, finishes in 7th ahead of Great Britain's Jensen Chalk in 8th, with Cés Moyes winning the battle for 9th ahead of Jeff Verbeek, James van der Poel and Michael Kumas, but Denny Babacek doing the double here in Micromax at the BNL.